That's right, we are back in the new back garden shed. Past couple of weeks I've been playing loose and fast with the boundaries of power tool, health and safety, and I've managed to concoct a back garden shed. We've had another 1,000 subscribers, so we're now over 8,000 subscribers, which is pretty cool. Party, says Ross. Yeah, not half, Ross. Party indeed. Yeah, it's very humbling hitting the 8,000. I never thought we'd get halfway near. If you're new to the skate party format, basically it's me waffling and you guys commenting in. You can ask whatever you want and we can talk skateboarding until such time as the tea runs out. As you can see, I'm a bit short of props. The old back garden shed had all my boards on the wall. But yeah, so I started the YouTube channel, well, it's coming up for 2 years ago now. And I was about a year into the skating when I started it. And that first year was pretty exciting. It's a shame I didn't capture some of that first year because there were some comedy moments. John Caton asks, when are you putting in the new mini ramp in the backyard? Oh, I reckon get the shed finished and then we'll start thinking about some sort of skateboarding apparatus in the backyard. Dennis, greetings from Southern California. I'm glad to see that the new shed is in the making. Yeah, it's very, very basic at the moment. And I dare say quite echoey. Coachy Coach is back. Hi Coachy Coach. Yo John. Are the little nippers happy with the move? I would say they're definitely pretty happy with the move, Coachy Coach. Yeah, they've started Mount Hawk School this week and they're having a lovely old time. They've been to all of the ramps in the local area, skating, and there is a really nice BMX track. So they've fallen in love with the off-road BMX. Simon Brown, missing the old mini ramp? I've got Mount Hawk skate park just down the road, so I'm pretty happy with the arrangements, I have to say, Simon. I've got into me vert skating a little bit lately. It's bitten me like a bug, and I can't leave it alone. So I've been concentrating on the proper big ramp as opposed to the mini ramp. And there's only so many hours in the day, and I do feel like I'm missing the mini ramp, but the vert ramp is something that seems to be a cruel mistress and demands all of your time. Check the Water 39 is saying, cheers John, hope your channel keeps growing. Nice one dude. Yeah, when I started the channel it was really under the banner of getting my progression a bit supercharged, and I found that making a video each week really gave me something to focus and strive for, and it forced me into learning a new trick, and I really enjoyed that process. Also, when I was making the video I could look back and see where I was going wrong, and it gave me a chance to sort of coach myself as I was going. Coachy Coach is saying, have you ever thought of playing guitar while skateboarding? I'm pretty sure you could do it and it would make for a great video on your channel. Yeah, Coachy Coach, pre-skateboarding, I was doing a lecture for some guitar students and it was in a theatre. And one of them had a skateboard and I couldn't skateboard at the time. And I decided that it would be a good stunt to play a guitar solo while skateboarding across the stage. And it was all going really well until I hit like an XLR mic lead and the wheels stopped and I went flying and the guitar headstock got a fair bit of damage. And ever since then, my skateboarding and guitar unison career has definitely taken a back seat. Daniel Erickson, hi John, what is your next trick you want to learn? What is your dream trick that you are aiming for in the future? At the moment, Daniel, I am aiming for a backside air over the coping on the vert ramp and also the front side air, and those are my two main things. If I can get a rock fakie or a axle stall on the vert ramp, I'd also be most happy. But these are tricks that I already know on the mini ramp, so it's a bit strange because the vert version is obviously on steroids and there are a few idiosyncrasies that need to be taken into account. So at the moment I'm thinking about adapting what I've got onto the vert. I would like to do a front side Smith grind at some point, vert or mini ramp. I'm not too fussed. Ross Allen, whoa, there's a bit of a smiley face there. Spencer Orton, I used to play the guitar when walking the dogs on my board. That's like triple whammy, Spence. It's all quite guitar centric tonight. There's not too much skateboarding banter. This is surprising. Craig Slater is asking, just upgraded to a 9.75 welcome deck and hoping to get my first drop in. Any fear wobble advice? Oh my goodness, Craig, yeah, the drop in, crikey. It is a game of opposites, the drop in. So I think what most people do, this is my experience as well. I went up there and thought, whoa, there's a load of danger in front of me. Best to take it a little bit careful and stay away from that. And obviously leaning back on the drop-in is the worst thing you can do. So I think it's a game of opposites where you've got to go, that's the worst thing I feel like I should do, which is to go right far forwards. But that is in fact the thing you've got to trick your mind into doing somehow. But I guess it's a case of padding up as much as you can and being ready to go a cropper, because for me, there was a fair few nasty fallings off. And also, if you can find a mellow transition, I learned on quite a steep, whippy transition, which is the worst thing ever, because what you need is time. But all of those things hopefully should come in. But it's actually better to go flying off the front than it is to come off the back. Coming off the back sucks. It's the worst thing. Lassie22 is asking, are you going to build a new ramp at your new place? I'm thinking, because I've got Mount Hawk Skate Park, which is the big 13.5 foot vert ramp, and that's 5 minutes down the road. So I'm so focused on that and into that. They've got a lovely bowl, they've got a lovely street, they've got lovely everything. It's incredible. I'm thinking that all my time's going to be taken up there. However, there is something about having your own ramp that's really, really nice. There is a play park about 2 streets down, and they've got a place where they used to have a skate park, and they've taken the metal ramps away, so now it's just a piece of asphalt, as they say in America. And I'm thinking, whoa, that would be a perfect spot for a little DIY, or get in touch with the council and start the process of getting a new skate park built, because my rationale is there was a skate park there and it's obviously been taken down because it's not been maintained or couldn't be maintained. So that says to me there could be a skate park there again. And oh my gosh, a mini ramp at the end of the road where people couldn't pull a face when you had a go would be really good. Dennis is asking, any new boards in the future? Any reissues catch your eye? Santa Cruz, Powell, etc. My latest reissue was the one that I did a little doodah on, and that is my favourite ever. It's the Kendall, and it's got the Cruise Missile 2 concave, which I think they have in quite a lot of their reissues. So I really love this bad boy. I love the look of it, and the only thing that I miss is a bit of nose, because I like the odd nosy trick, even though I do enjoy the challenge of trying to make this nose work. But Mr. Kendall did a version a couple of boards on where he's got a bigger nose. So I'm thinking of trying to get hold of that. But the problem is they're worth £1 million. So they're really hard to get hold of. My other board, this is the only one I'm riding at the moment, which is the Anderson board that you all know and love. But I've set it up for vert. And it's got no risers, straight bolted on. 159 Indy trucks, and then you can see they're pretty tight. So I've got 3.5 turns on those. And the reason I went for that is because that's what Tony Hawk says he has on his. So I thought if Mr. Hawk is doing that, then so should I. And then I've got 58mm Spitfire OG Classics and the Santa Cruz rails, and that is the setup for the big vert ramp at Mount Hawk, and it's going an absolute treat. I absolutely love it. Oh yeah. Mark, I took my Anderson deck out for its first park session today. Gotta say it's freaking awesome. I have to say Mr. Anderson did a good job designing that board. Andrew Spicy, use your new concrete skills on the DIY at the park. Indeed, Andrew, yeah, I put down a concrete block to build the new backyard shed on, and I have to say that was stressful because I've never done anything out of concrete, and in my mind it was going to end up like the Himalayas, just setting before I could even straighten it out. It would have been a disaster, and I would have had to pay double to get somebody to mow it all up and do it again properly. Mark, are you still near Prevail and Duck Lane, or are you looking at a new local park? Yes, I am nowhere near Prevail and Duck Lane anymore, Mark. I've moved to Cornwall, so I'm 5 minutes away from Mount Hawke Skate Park, and I've been skating St Ives and also the monumental monolith of concrete that is Concrete Waves. Tall and dorky, what wheels do you prefer for Skatelite? I got to say, I only used the Spitfire OG Classic, so 99A, and I found that they worked really well on the Skatelite vert ramp. That was the 12-footer over in Cardiff. If you saw that video of the vert competition, yeah, they worked absolutely a treat on the Skatelite. I've got to say, Skatelite is a bit of a deluxe skating experience. If you haven't tried it, it's just very, very quick and very, very smooth. And I was finding on the Cardiff ramp that I got a lot more for my money when I pumped. So all the pumps were coming up a little bit longer than I found on a bit of plywood surface. Andrew Spicer, £200 a sheet. Oh, yeah, it is the Skatelite. I really, really want a Skatelite for my backyard mini ramp, the one that I built, and I only needed 5 sheets. And the problem was that the Skatelite was more than it cost to build the ramp, because the Skatelite was, I think this was pre-COVID, so I think the Skatelite was about £150 a sheet then. But we were still talking the best part of 750 quid, and that was more than the whole ramp cost. And also I need more, I need 900 because I need another sheet to do the 2 decks. So yeah, it was a little bit pricey, but yeah, I guess you get what you pay for. And it is what they use at all of those X Games and any of those sort of ramps. Tall and dorky, I have 13 sheets of Skatelite in my shed waiting for me to get my ramp built. Oh my goodness, that's lovely. Still trying to decide what radius my 4-foot ramp should be. Any suggestions? That's a great question. For a 4-foot ramp, my coach Greg Nowick has a 4.5 foot ramp, and he's got a 7-foot transition on it, and it is nice and fast and tight. For my 3-foot ramp, I had a 6.5 foot transition, and that seemed to work quite well. So I think the mistake I made when I built my mini ramp is I built the transition a little bit too mellow. So it was great to start with, and then I sort of grew into it and almost outgrew it a little bit, because the downside of a mellow ramp is you find it hard to get the speed, and also it's not so great for doing little tricks where you want to pop up out of the coping, and also you don't get the clearance to do certain slides and grinds. RBF Group is saying, you inspire me, mate, I've got to get on a vert ramp soon. Come on! The more vert ramp skaters, the better. Vert is not dead. Vert skating is not a crime. There's all these brilliant stickers that you see dotted around the vert scene. I got to say, the vert skating scene I've absolutely fallen in love with. I didn't know it existed, and then you just have a little look, just peel back the curtain, and there's a whole world waiting for you of amazing skateboarding individuals doing amazing skateboarding that you never knew existed. So I'm having to say I'm loving it, and I'm looking forward to the Mount Hawke vert competition, which is going to be my next. That's what I'm training for at the moment. That's going to be my 2nd competition on the vert. Vasily just came back from pool riding session. Come on! Love a bit of pool skating. Woo! Ian! Oi, oi, from Germany! Oh yeah, nice one. I did a little tour through Germany when I'd only been skating about 8 months, and I have to say, you have some magnificent skate parks, some absolutely wonderful bits and bobs. I wasn't really good enough to fully exploit them, but I remember being excited from start to finish. Yeah, so next video is coming up. My wife is a yoga instructor, so I'm going to do a stretching and yoga for skateboarders, because I've been finding it very beneficial to stay in the game and also stop fatigue. So I'm going to get my wife Charlotte in, and she's going to do a little bit of a routine that she's designed especially for my skateboarding. I've also been sent a surf skate by the wonderful people at 66. Many thanks to them. So I'll be doing a review on that surf skate because it's a really interesting piece of kit. If you want to follow me on Instagram, I'm probably more prolific on the Instagram just because it's quite easy to upload the clips and the pictures. The YouTube takes a little bit longer to get the clips together and to edit. So if you want to go on the Instagram, it's John Bishop Skate, oddly enough. Here we go, let's keep going. John Caton, hey, any street skating lately? Rails and the sort. My street skating is a little bit more tailored towards the freestyle. So I've got my freestyle board and I like doing my flat ground that way. Well, I guess that's sort of the godfather, predecessor of modern street skating. I also like the odd curb. I love a bit of a curb. I got a little bit into ledges and I went an absolute cropper and sort of slid out on a ledge, and I fell so quickly that I hit on my shoulder. I couldn't even get my arm out to stop myself, and I'm pretty sure I broke something in my shoulder, or at least something went wrong, and it's only just got right. And I asked myself the question, it's all about risk and reward at the age of 47, is grinding a ledge really worth not being able to do the mini ramp and the bowl and the vert, which is sort of my passion, but I really do enjoy the street when I have a go. It's just, I find that the ramifications of such a pursuit are pretty full on. I know it sounds silly, the vert ramp is like obviously a lot higher, but you can sort of glide and knee slide out of that, whereas if I come a cropper even at skateboard height on the street, no pads, it always, skins things, and oh my gosh. I've still got that from street skating the other day. I don't know whether anybody can see that, but it's a bit of it sort of sticks out a bit. It doesn't look too good, whatever it is. Tall and doggy, I was thinking I would add a 2.4 wide, 18-inch tall extension. I just saw a Chad Caruso video where he skated a sweet backyard ramp without extensions, and they were grinding almost the entire length. Yeah, I guess that is the thing. When I made an extension for my backyard mini ramp, I made it so that it was movable, because I still wanted to have the possibility to do the long grind, but I also wanted the extra speed from the drop in and also the extra challenge of doing things a little bit higher. So yeah, I guess if you're going to build it in like forever, you're going to end up losing a little bit of something. But that's a pretty wide ramp you've got, which is pretty nice. Frederico Jordan, greetings from Brazil. Yeah, the Brazilian contingent are in. My goodness, what time is it in Brazil? I reckon that might be a medal of honour for tuning in at such a time. Tall and doggy, street skating is for kids with flexible joints and flexible bones. So hike, run, cycle, skate is saying, I'm suffering from Achilles tendonitis on my pushing ankle, which I think has been called by cold enthusiast starts on the skateboard. So warm up and stretches are a good idea for a video. Yeah, when I started skateboarding, I had real Achilles pain all the time, and I think it was from like running out of various sort of tricks, and also I think also not warming up, but I think also just from like, you know, not skateboarding ever in my life. My whole body was having to rework itself to try and get used to the skateboarding stance. But I remember the Achilles being a real problem for a while. Luckily, it seems to have got better, and I sort of manufactured some Achilles pads because I got bored very quickly of the board knifing into my Achilles, and I thought I really don't want, because an Achilles injury is a nightmare to come back from, and it's all about skating as much as we can. So Mark, You skate quite a wide range of the skate disciplines. Do you think you will eventually home in on one or two disciplines, or enjoy the full spectrum of skating? That's a great question, Mark. Yeah, I sort of flitted, I guess it's like a menu, like a banquet. And I was like, wow, this is amazing. There's so many sports within a sport. And I sort of felt like I should at least try all of them, or most of them. And I guess you just sort of work through and then get the ones that you enjoy. At the moment, because I've got a tunnel vision, it's just all vert ramp. I remember being a bit like that about bowl skating. When I first started the bowl skating, I was like, that's it. And when I started getting on the surf skating, it was the same. And when I started having a little dabble on the freestyle board, exactly the same. I sort of got this, I get so excited and I just do that for a little bit and then try and blend it a little bit. So I'm hoping that the vert ramp honeymoon period will just start to mellow a little bit. Alan is asking, how nervous were you at Spit and Sawdust contest? I have to say, Alan, I was pretty nervous. I had to stop. I think I had to stop 7 times driving on the way there to go to the loo, which is an unusual amount to go to the loo on a drive, and I think that was down to the nerves. Also, I didn't have a clue what to expect and how it would run. And also trying to get the practice on the ramp was pretty tricky because there were so many people in the same boat. And I learned so many lessons from doing it. I wish I'd had more preparation. I wish I'd had more time skating that ramp. But in terms of the actual performance side, I'm quite used to like playing guitar gigs and things like that, and I sort of used to harnessing that energy. It's like a peacock. Even though I didn't have many feathers to display, I still felt I could get into peacock mode, and because I'm an habitual show-off. So yeah, I found the actual contest runs okay, but the rest of it was very, very overwhelming. Ed is asking, all-weather ramp in that shed? I mean, that would be great, wouldn't it? That would be a little micro ramp, comedy micro ramp in the corner. I reckon that's the one. Nick Barry, loving the Mount Hawk t-shirt, John. Woo! Yeah, you got to fly the flag. Tall and Dorky, what other sports did you do when you weren't skating? Oh, right, okay, so I started off racing sailboats in my teenage years. And through racing sailboats, I got into teaching sailboats because I got my instructor's award, and then that allowed me to travel overseas to teach sailboat racing. And in those sailboat centres they had windsurfing apparatus, so I quickly fell in love with windsurfing, and I guess that was my first board sport, and I became a windsurfing instructor, and then I travelled the world doing that. And then I got to a position where I went to centres that had windsurfing in waves. And then when there wasn't wind on the waves, I thought, I'd have to go to surfboard, stand-up surfboard riding. So I learned to ride a surfboard, and that was something I really fell in love with. And then when the kite surfing kites became invented around about sort of the year 2000, I got onto those because that was, again, something you could do when the waves weren't so great, but there was some wind. So then it was kite surfing was the thing. I dabbled with a little bit of snowboarding. And then through the kite surfing got into wakeboarding a little bit, and then the skateboarding was the thing that I should have started off doing, because that's the thing I love. And the sad thing is I love the skateboarding so much that I don't do any of those sports anymore. I try and do 1 or 2 sessions a summer, but last summer I don't think I went out, which is terrible, really. I didn't go out. And I think I went out on the kite once, but I got into the hydrofoil riding on the kite, so I quite enjoy that. But I'm thinking I'm going to get more into the surfing and the wind sport here, because it is epic down in Cornwall for such a thing. Good stuff. Well, it's been very, very exciting. Once again, thank you to everybody for subscribing. I think we're at about 8,100 and something now, so hopefully 9,000 will be just around the corner and we'll get to do this again. I've only followed you for a couple of months. How long ago did you start skating? It was 3 years ago. I was 44 years old and yeah, literally started from scratch. Jonathan Caton, watching the process and the battle is a great way to learn. Yeah, I think through learning all of the videos where I'm like learning a trick are legitimate. I can't do the trick before I start the filming, and by the end there's some version of the trick. I think in hindsight it would be nicer to go a little bit longer than I do, because some of those early videos I literally do one make and that is it. That's where I leave it. And I learned that just doing one after 2 hours of trying doesn't mean that you've learned the trick in any way. I found that you've got to move past that and do like 10 makes and then go back the next day and then go through the process again and do hundreds and hundreds of makes until eventually you've got something remotely consistent that is good to watch. And Lee is saying, Shane Lance left Braille, when are you decorating the shed? I've got to get I'm pretty excited about the shed, but it's not really that skateboardy, so I feel guilty talking about it. And I've got to put in put in some wood, and then put in some insulation, and then put in some plasterboard and stuff. You can see that I know what I'm talking about when it comes to making sheds. It's pretty much like everything else, I sort of just trial and error. So Neil Hester is in the house. Neil's a fellow vert skating enthusiast and somebody that hopefully is joining me for the Mount Hawk competition. And Neil also skated the ramp in Southampton that I had a few lessons on. Regular Foot is saying, hi John, I'm a new subscriber, just turned 46 young. Yeah. Thank you for all your tips and skateboard suggestions. Nice one, dude. You are most welcome and you are in the right place. Oh my goodness. Any tips for carving frontside in the bowl? Oh, dude, yeah, I mean, the typical tips is for carving is to bend your knees. And it sounds like a simple one, but it's the hardest thing ever to do, because what bending your knees does is puts you closer to the perceived danger. So I found when I was training to bend my knees more, what I was actually doing was training my brain to understand that that was not only okay, but it was actually safer to be closer to the perceived danger. So I would say the more you can bend your knees, the best. And I used to do various drills like grabbing the rail of the board, because that forces you to be low. You physically can't grab the rail of the board unless you're quite low down. And also things like, I guess my surfing helped me a lot with carving. I found carving frontside especially came a little bit more naturally than some other people, just because for my entire life it seems I've been chasing right-handers, which as a regular footer means I'm frontside going down the line looking at the face of the wave, which is champagne surfing setup. There's a couple of videos I've done on carving, and I think the one that you might find the most helpful is the fakey carving ones, only because when I'm learning to carve fakey, that is like starting again. So you can see all the mistakes that I make, because I learnt to carve a skateboard in the first year of skateboarding when I didn't have a YouTube channel. So none of my videos are trick tip videos in so much as that I do them about things that I can already do. So the only way that I could film a video about frontside carving was to do it fakey, which meant that I was starting afresh. Oh, that's a long answer. What's the highest tranny you could acid drop roll in on? I reckon 4 foot Lee. Anything over that and I get way too overexcited. Nice one, guys. Well, thank you very much for tuning in. It's been a great evening, and thank you very much for all of your input and your continued support. I will continue to knock up the old videos. I've missed my weekly schedule just because I've been working on the back garden shed, but I'll get back on track with the every Friday, Saturday, Sunday touch. Nice one. Let's see if we can make this stop without it all falling off of a jaunty setup.